All right, on to wine number 5, the Marietta, the Gibson Block Syrah, coming from the vintage of 2015. So we've done some interesting wines so far today, hopefully. This is another sort of different one, Marietta. Most of you probably haven't heard of them. They are out of McDowell. Let me just clarify. Their vineyards are out of McDowell Valley, which is in Mendocino County. Here's what we're talking about. And so McDowell Valley is relatively high elevation with a sort of a valley floor. There's about 500 odd acres created under vinification in the area. There's one winery, which is McDowell Valley Winery. And these guys have 200 acres of that 547 acres under vine, which is really kind of interesting. And so what we're talking about here is McDowell Valley. What it's creating is from this small single plot, the Gibson plot, which is right next to the traditional farmstead, is with that nice cool downhill flow of air in the evening specifically, you're getting that nice crisp acidity to balance out the richness and ripeness of the fruit. That is what McDowell Valley sort of brings us. I don't know whether I've ever had a wine which is actually being fully labeled as McDowell Valley, so I thought it'd be kind of something interesting. A lot of people are sourcing fruit from McDowell Valley, but not actually making a single appellation from it. Marietta family, so when we're sort of talking about them, they are a classic farming family, have been for several generations. The father started making wines, the kids are now taking over more and more the reins, and they truly believe in this sort of, the magic of winemaking is what they're sort of talking about when you read their website and sort of, and speak to them. Also, what we're looking at within the sort of the family is they are farmers and they are now doing winemaking. They farm a lot of vineyards. They've got almost up to 500 acres of vineyards. So even though we've probably never heard of them, we've probably seen some fruit coming out of Mendocino County from these people, is what we're really talking about. So really interesting, under the radar, as I like to sort of say these things are, just making really good, sort of knock it out the park, quality wines is an example. So looking at this reference from the a wine writer, and I can't remember exactly, so I'm going to sort of just read the last sort of sentence. It's a big, sexy beast, but still has class, integrated acidity, and superb purity of fruit. That's a pretty endorsing sort of review. So hopefully you're going to get some of those characteristics. There's also lovely black fruits. There's also a little sort of spice coming from that sort of a cooler, relatively cooler climate Syrah. So again, moving into this sort of autumnal and these last couple of days, and these days coming up, seems to be very sort of cold mornings and those cold evenings. I think this, with some smoky barbecue and those media sort of aspects that you're looking at in some of your sort of fall foods, I think something big and hearty, this will go great. And I think it's just a beautiful wine.